everybody, it's You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. And today we're going to look at my current Slingshot collection. I've got it all laid out into some specific groups, so why don't we take a tour around the board and I'll tell you a little bit about some of the makers and some of the models, and you can see what a collector like myself has in store. So let's get to it. I hope you enjoy it. Well, here's my collection. I've got some duplicates that I didn't put out, and there might be a few odds and ends missing out, but this is very representative of the bulk of my collection. And you can see it laid out here on a standard size ping pong table. Let's start at this end here, and we'll cover some commercially available products and some naturals and just one-offs or odds and ends that I happen to have in my collection. If we look here, you can see some of the Chinese style offerings. It's very popular with these looped ends. I bent this one myself to give it more of an ergo feel, but that's very popular. Shoot loop tubes with that, which I don't really shoot, so I bought this one and I don't know, I loved it. I thought it was funny and hilarious. It's not very comfortable, but this tip here, this pig nose peg tip, where it swells out at the end there, is super popular, particularly in China. And I wanted to get an example of that because it's not so popular here, but I do like it. And I do love this little slingshot. This is the one my daughter shoots. These are soft scale SPS slingshots, and I think it was a really cool idea, but it never really panned out because I believe the scales would tend to peel off under heat, or if you had bands tied to them or whatever. I think, in fact, I had to have this one redone, but it was a little cheaper option to get, an authentic SPS. It says it right there on it, and I believe it's a stainless core, and it's kind of this softer. It's not exactly pliable, but it's got a little bit of feel to it. Anyway, this is mostly a tube shooter. I suppose you could use bands on it. It's got the banding grooves. But I ended up with two of those, and I thought they were kind of cool. Let's see what else we have here. Here's my other very inexpensive peg tip shooter. This is one of the very first slingshots from TSM, and it's one of the very first that I got in a trade. In fact, it might be the very first, and I loved it ever since I got it with this palm swell, and I just thought it was so fun and cool. And so I don't know if I must have shot it a couple times, but I just love the look of it, and I've always had it in my collection. This one is important. It's a, let's see if we can get the light on that just right. Yeah, it's a Gary flat band. And he's done a lot for the sport and his collection and stuff, so I'm very honored to have that, one of his, in my collection. This one, I love this one. This was from a guy who went by, I believe the name he used was Lightning. He was an older gentleman, and I shot the Woods course at the East Coast Slingshot Tournament a few years back with him. And he was a slingshot enthusiast. In fact, he made that, and he shot big ammo. And he just found out about our tournament one time and showed up and shot it, and he did all right, but that's what he loved to shoot. Big, heavy draw, and I ended up with it, so it's pretty cool. I'll always remember that guy. Here's another piece that I like, a little bunny buster. This, I believe, is a hammer mill. Yeah, hammer mill. And that's kind of a cool piece, historical piece to keep in your collection. I got this one in a trade, and I cannot remember the guy's name, but I believe he was from California, and I think he made guitars, or he worked in a guitar shop, and he had cool scraps. And he was in for a little while, but I think he pieced out a long time ago from slingshots to move on. And this one is another guitar maker. This is from Australia, I believe. The guy's name's Ash. And here you go, number 2, 2013 Colt. I think that's pretty cool. I tried tracking down, there's a few of his that I love that he made in like his custom denim micarta, and a few other ones that I really loved. I always loved his style, but I believe he is also a guitar maker. Let's see what else we got here. I believe this is a Gamekeeper John edition. I added the top slots to that one. This one is a Bowler. Now, Bowler, out of Canada, has a name for making small fiberglass trailers. And I actually have a similar one myself, but so that was really cool to end up with. Of course, this one, a little Millbar. That's a cool piece. These two are important to me, particularly this one. This one is made by Randy Knapp, can opener, who has long since moved on from Slingshots. In fact, he now travels the countryside in a custom-built or custom-refurbished school bus. He and his wife spent 2 years converting, and in very cool documentation style on YouTube. Anyway, I got this, and it's hard to see because of the HDPE, the custom blended HDPE that he did very well. But there's a pattern on it, cut into it. And that pattern was put on there using a Rose engine lathe, which is worth looking into if you're unfamiliar. But the cool thing about this is Randy made that lathe. It's just unbelievable to me. And so I love this slingshot. I think it's super cool. He must have enormous hands because I wear an XL glove and this thing is too big for me, but I just love that pattern. This is another of his builds that I ended up with. This poor thing got fork hit, but it's still pretty cool. I think he calls this the dog bone. This might be the thumper? I can't remember that one. But, oh, side note, I am desperately seeking a tiny turtle made by the man himself. So, if somebody wants to sell one or trade one, I'm looking for it. No collection's complete without a Nylabone frame. They work great. Get it at your local pet store. I think these are YSYEO Slingshots, maybe? Yeah, there you go. YSYEO Slingshots. And let's see here. Wing Shooter. Now, Wing Shooter, we'll talk about it in a little bit. One of his Starship rotating head models, but this is a bent aluminum that he had. This, I'm told, is a slingshot. Not too sure about that. Don't know how to hold it. I think it might be a can opener and a wrench, maybe. But they gave these out at the very first Slingshot World Cup, which I participated in Italy. And so I have it, but I don't know what it is. BC Luxor, got that in a trade. This is one of the United States' finest shooters. Took his hand at making some frames. I don't know if he still does, but he did for a little while. Mr. Dan Ambrosius from Alabama. He's a heck of a competitor. And he made a few frames, and I was lucky enough to get one. Another top shooter, Mike Miley. This is his Dragon Claw, I think that's what he calls it, frame. And I don't shoot through the fork, but I do love having this one in my collection. Now he shoots these a lot, and he's got some different models on it, but that's his frame, his design. He likes that. And Mike Miley also, where did I put it? It's in my stuff. He also came up with the jelly bean design there that Simple Shots sold for a while, and I have a custom built one. I made one to go with it, but we'll get to that later. Chuck Davis made these. This is his design, and then he made one for me. I kind of use this as like an all-rounder. One's kind of indestructible. That's my Forget About It design. And this one is a child slingshot from Frank Ninehuss. And it's a pretty good design because kids do love a hammer grip. Let's see here. So here's some natties. I think I actually won that one in like I don't know, some sort of silly contest. This one, I've recently found out, is made by Joseph Garcia, the 2021 ECST Slingshot Champ of the Universe, and a friend of mine. It's an awesome dude. Anyway, he made this one, and I think that's pretty cool. Anything other important here? Ray Rowden made this one. I traded with him, and I think it's pretty awesome. Papa Sailor, Day Hiker. That's a good one. This one was made by MJ McClure, the one-time Guinness Book record holder from Slingshots. There's only one record, and it's most cans in a minute, and at one time, that gentleman held that record. This one is made by a fellow that goes by the name of Zero. It's Hornbeam. I think he's done a massively cool job. I love that one. Let's see here. Drew Bilbrey at work here in the pair of these. I like his style quite a bit. He does a lot of natties. And this one was from Ray Brzezowski. I don't know if you can even zoom in there. It's on the bottom there. It's going to be super difficult to see, but you can take my word for it. And this one I got from Ghost himself, Mr. Bishop. And this was at the, oh, there I signed it. Quarter my nose, Darren Cook. This was at a Swamp Stomp shoot in North Carolina, and a bunch of us signed it. Nathan Masters there. Yeah, 2015 Swamp Stomp. And that's a cool little thing to have. And I know just about all of these people. How cool is that? Got a little rock slinger. Okay, any other? Oh, here we go. Here's some other ones that should be mentioned. I can't remember. I think I got that in a trade. This is a Mexican design, Joss, I think. And I don't know if he stopped making these or this one's, it's an interesting shape. Pepper Mac, Carl Wheathouse made this one. Let's see here. Oh, I cannot remember the name of that frame. And here's the lizard, little mini lizard. Now this was given to me, the man himself gave this to me. Flicks is what he goes by. I like that a lot. And how about this? This one's got to be the absolute coolest chain slingshot. Most of them look haphazard and unfinished and gnarly, and even the little casings in here still spin. And that thing's like the coolest. I love this one a lot. Look at that bad boy. Woo! All right, let's move on to some commercially available slingshots. Oh wait, hold the phone. I forgot these two. These are the Sasquatch frames, little Pickle Forks, and you shoot them, like that. Bought that one, and then I got this one in a prize, but this is the prototype, so I'm super excited to have this one. And those are made by a friend of mine named Ken Dykes, and Ken does Red Thorn leather on Etsy. Outstanding leather work. In fact, I probably have more leather than I do slingshots from Ken. And I just ordered a really awesome pickle fork. It's too bad it wasn't here yet. I mean, he just started on it the other day, but I'm super excited to get that. And then you got this. It's an offering from One of a Kind Forge out of Oregon. Very cool. I think you can work that out for yourself. But all right, let's move on here. Here we have some of the Wasp Slingshots. And you got the Unifox. And like their new one. I think it's the XO and the Enzo and the Outlaw and the Stinger. This one is pretty cool because it's a prototype. They slightly changed the design when it went for production sale, so I think that's a pretty cool thing to have. I've modified my Enzo. Actually, this was a gift from Dick Riley, who's like one of the true gentlemen of the sport. Anyway, I've modified mine to run its clips with spring-loaded, so that's pretty fun. And this is one of the coolest frames I think you can buy, the Outlaw. I really, really dig this frame. I love the look of it. Love how it feels in my hand. The width is just about perfect, so I really like that one. And then you got a little shorty one here. I think this one's called the Stinger, maybe. Yeah, should go like that. So those are all from Wasp Slingshots, plus they make the best targets in the world. The spinners that they have are absolutely the best. Can't be beat. In fact, that's what I shoot almost every day. Right here, we've got a bone, and what's he called? These, the bone grip. That's right. And it's from Terry, and he sells these. And they're surprisingly inexpensive for the amount of labor and R&D that went into them. These three are resin. This is his wide fork. And the reason I'm showing all of these is that this one is like one of my favorites. Look at that. You can just bend it all up, squish them down, bone grip. And man, these are all pretty indestructible. In fact, I think these would survive fork hits better than this aluminum would. And I have that one because, man, it just reminds me like an old school hood ornament, or something off a Pace Arrow or something. It's so cool. But yeah, those are super awesome Pickle Forks, and then this wide grip one. But those are pretty interesting. What's next? Okay, here we have a few things from Pocket Predator. This is Mr. Bill Hayes out of Texas. Bill's a heck of a competitor. In fact, he beat me by 1 point in the last contest that we shot. I'll get you, Bill. You better look out. There you go. And I don't remember the names. I think this one's I can't remember. I do like this one because Bill's a big man and he's got big hands. So a lot of his frames, in years past were kind of plus size, but now he's getting into these really cool smaller grab ones, and man, look at that. Got his cool logo in there, little double P. Got a loop tube shooter. And this is his pistol grip. It's got the the rail on the bottom for attachments, and you can swap this head comes out, the clip's removed, and you get an arrow rest, which I haven't shot but looks pretty interesting. I think they're kind of cool. All right, let's go to the other side of this table here, and we'll look at a few more things. All right, well, we'll go kind of old school a bit. We're going to look at wrist rocket. And you might be familiar with something like that. These bent wire, molded handles. But, the sport's come a long way since then. You can go to something like this. I think they call this the wing, maybe. And it was designed to shoot like an Olympic archer, where you let it fall after each shot. And then it has, fiber optic sights on it. And that one's cool, and it folds up too. I thought this one was really interesting. And then you got the Mac Daddy that was loud. Of all of this style of frame, right? This bent wire frame. Look at it. I mean, you start low. It's got the little beaver tail, arm brace. It's got a rock shield on it. And then Without the bands in, these will fall out, but with the bands in, they're nice and tight. This is what retains. This is the clip that holds the band in there, and it's got the. You can see all the fiber optic. I don't know if you know, but how fiber optic works, you need the light to hit the side of it. So that's why it runs around like that, and then it gets real bright. And then look at that. It's got a little level in there. So pretty interesting and very cool. And that's Wrist Rocket. And that's Chuck Saunders Archery. He owns that company. And I was lucky enough to meet him, and we had a good little chat about some slingshots. It was pretty great. All right, now we're going to go over and look at a few of my little prize pieces here I'm super excited about. Where to start? Well, this one. Ben Goldman, I believe is his name. Look at this. Goldman glass out of Philadelphia. He made this and then sold it to me like ridiculously cheaply for my birthday one time. Is that thing killer or what? It's one of my all-time favorite Pickle Forks. Love it. These were made by Alex Ryan, Flat Cat. These are the Flat Cat frames, and this was the original design, well, one of the earlier designs that was meant to shoot tubes. Alex was obsessed with finding ways to attach bands without tools and without tying them, so you could do it on the run. And both of these will do that. This is his. This is the current model, and it'll hold. He uses two very thin. They call them spaghetti strap bands, but you can use one regular flat band as well. Look at that. This one I got in a trade. Asa Wilson out of the UK. I believe, yeah, there you go, Asa Wilson. And look at that. So I've had this one for a little while. I'm very happy about it. These are, what's the name that he went with? The Nunchuck, I think. I think that's what these are called. I can't remember. I think he might have had another name. Anyway, Chuck Davis, a friend of mine, made those. I think they're pretty awesome. This one is interesting to me because it's my design. This is my Littlefoot design. And I had cut the core out. I believe I cut the core out and sold it or traded it to Ray Brzezinski, who is a pretty well-known maker, an excellent shooter, and heck of a guy. And so he cut the wood out and finished it and then traded it back to me. And I was super excited to get it. In fact, he might have just given it to me, now that I think about it. Anyway, that's pretty cool to have one of your designs done by an outstanding maker. Let's see, what else do we got here? Oh, El Chepo. I think this is guava wood. And always be on the lookout for the old Rhino, because those are so cool. One of my favorite natty makers. In fact, my other one that I love so much is Q. And he made this. We traded, actually. I sent him a slingshot and he sent me one. And I just love the way that guy designs and makes slingshots. This one, let's see if we can get his Randy Early, I believe is how you say his last name. Just an old kid. Oh, I can't quite zoom in on it. But he hand shapes these. So these aren't routered or whatever. He just hand shapes them until he thinks they're perfect. And these are hard to come by. So that's a real jewel in my collection. That one won't be going anywhere ever. This one. This was an early inspiration for me. I had seen, there's a video on how to build this one, or the actual making of this one. And this one was made for Danny, I don't remember his last name, and he left the game a long time ago. But this was his personal torpedo. And in fact, when I first started making slingshots, I made a couple that looked just like this as like a tribute to this one because I thought it was so cool. And so I'm very happy to have tracked this one down. And I think this is my only Lewis Pride slingshot. Lewis is a fantastic dart player and just outstanding builder. And a mountain of a dude. And I was happy enough and lucky enough to meet Lewis and his dad Alex at a slingshot tournament once or twice here in the States. And man, I hope they get a chance to come back. But this is carbon fiber brass, some G10 liners in there. That's a real beaut. Okay, let's see. What do we got next? Oh, we'll go to my homie Tim Foster, Toolman Tim Foster. And he's made these. This is his design. I think he calls it the Toolman Special. Oh, look at his little raccoon. Little T-Coon Tactical. And I got this in a trade with Tim. And I told him just to pick out whatever he wanted. And he did. And I think it's pretty awesome. Tim does exceptional work. This is probably my favorite. He calls this one little Stormtrooper. Got a little dirt on it. I have to clean that off. You didn't see that part. But I do like this one a lot. I collect Star Wars themed slingshots, so this one's always pretty awesome. And then we got here Beast Coast Slingshots. And this is my homie Joseph Garcia, Slingshot Master. And these are some of his HTPE creations. I think this one's the Gambler, maybe? I can't remember the names. I'm terrible with names. But he put in, as requested by me, the binding post attachment on a couple of these, because that's what I like to shoot. So yeah, I love those. And this one, I got this one the first time I ever met Joseph. He was shooting one like this, and man, did he get the ergo grip on that. I'd like to see him build something like this in G10. But he's a busy man. All right, moving on. We're going to go to the Mark Seljin collection. I got the 4 here. This was his the first offering that came out. And he sold it, I think, in conjunction with Simple Shot, maybe. I can't remember. But you know, his designs are so cool. Just so many straight edges that fit in your hand perfectly. Yeah, so cool. I got to meet Mark at the World Cup Slingshot tournament. In fact, we shot next to each other through the whole tournament. This one's pretty rare. I think there's just a couple of them, maybe even 2. And so he gave me this one at that tournament. Very cool. Here's some more hard to get ones. These are from Lee Silva. I think this is probably the most popular and probably the one that's around the world the most. It's called the Steinbuck, I think. And it's got a polymorph plastic swells on it. He made this one too, same sort. He was experimenting with this polymorph. And Lee has, I don't think I have an example of it, but he came up with a method for holding your bands called the Otter method, and I think that actually became the genesis for the Ocularis from Simple Shot, which I just now realized we didn't look at, so we'll go look at those next. Yeah, here it is right here. This is his Otter attachment. I forgot about that. So these are all very cool slingshots. And I wish Lee was still in the game, but he's moved on to other things. Love those. Let's take a look at Team Simple Shot here for just a second. Watch out, Admiral. Yeah, I don't know how I skipped over this, so let's take a look. This is not all of their slingshots, but some of them. Here's the bean flip that was a design by Mike Miley originally, or the jelly bean. I think they call it the jelly bean because they already had the bean flip, this one. I customized this one. I recessed the rings here. It used to be just straight thickness, just like on this side, but I liked how the plug sat down flush. And then my wife customized it further for me. So that was fun. Maybe I'll get rid of that someday. Flip and Pickle, the original Scout LT, or no, the Scout and then the Scout LT. And this is one of the couple of slingshots I recommend to everyone. This and then either the Unifox or the Enzo from Wasp. It's a great slingshot. It's you can use it in a couple of different ways. You can attach bands or tubes to it in a couple of different orientations. It's pretty indestructible. That's fantastic. And then this here might be the best arm brace shooter on the market, the Hammer. And what makes it so awesome is that it's modular in design, right? So you can have, in fact, I probably do have somewhere, the arrow shooter. When you want a sling bow, it holds a whisker biscuit in there. You can get it with Ocularis plugs. You can get it with just a standard tip. And it's, man, that's a piece of hardware right there. But that's kind of what you get from Simple Shot. Really good stuff. Experts only. Flippin' Pickles are pretty cool though. Oh, snap, look at this. Lovin' Slingshots, little finger shot. I can't remember what they call that thing. But I met the inventor, Michael, and very cool guy and fun. And so we were out shooting those. Those are good to go on the run. All right, here's part of my collection that I'm super proud of. This is my Metro grade collection. Kind of show you right there. And the most important piece of this collection is this one to me. Well, I can't say that. That's untrue. Because this piece here, this is one half of the Dueling Fates, Star Wars themed lightsaber style. And this one here, Eric made and gave to me, gifted both of those to me at different times. And so those are very memorable to me. But as far as like slingshots in general go, this is one of my all-time favorite frames. It's the O-Ray, and it's Rey from Star Wars themed. And I remember when he first made this, I was just over the moon about it. And it took me quite a lot to get it, actually. But yeah, that's a real gem. So let's see what else we have here. The Wasp Ply. I like that shape. Very comfortable. I got a Natty that he put some clips on. This was a fun one he made. Just like, I think he called it like the barber shot or something. I can't remember. It's his little pickle fork. But that's, you know, Eric was like a fun guy and he came up with fun ideas, and that's what you get. For example, he wanted to make a Spanish style slingshot. So this is a banister railing. And look what he made. So you hold it like that. And it came with little tubes on it. And he decided that it would be fun to ship this thing all over the world. And we would have a contest with it. Like, I think the contest was most hits on a can from, I don't know, 20 feet or something like that. But look, you can see Ray Shot, Nathan Masters, Brooks, me right there at the end. Oh, Leon, right on. TSM, remember I traded with him earlier. Anyway, I won that contest. I think this was the very first slingshot contest I ever won. And so I got to keep the shooter. So I love that one. Oh, here's another one Eric made for me. Made me a little tiny slingshot. How cool is that? Other interesting models, his little ice cream sandwich. Look at that. Through the fork, there's your fork. So be careful with that one. Got his gnat, I believe, and the giant gnat to go with it. Important models. Oh, here you go. I think this is the Kraken. I can't remember the names of these. I think that might be it. But how cool is that? And then this one. When I first started out making slingshots, I started making my own custom blended melted HDPE. And that's what this is. So I sent Eric a few pieces of that to see what he could do with it. And this is what he made. How cool is that? Get that back. So I love those mashups between a couple makers. Ooh, this is his sneaky take on the airplane, and all of these unscrew. I can't do it one-handed, but all of these unscrew, and you can store it separately. And there you go. You can take a slingshot with you. I still need to make the tabs to go back with it, but how cool is that? Here's the other half of the Dueling Fates. I ended up getting the other one, so that's a cool collection. Oh, glow-in-the-dark fish scales. I think that's supposed to represent the brain. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. We got a couple of his knucks. That one and this one. And then an old school acrylic one. But that's the bulk of my collection from Eric. Very cool. All right, now we're going to take a look at two last slingshots before we go to my stuff. This is from Dick Riley, and he made this shooter. You put your arm through the hole there, and that was a fun build. I mean, I like the idea of it and how he made it and how you can get it together. And so he's made a bunch of these and given them away, and I thanked him very much for it. Very happy to have that one. And then here's a real piece. This is the wing shooter, and it's got a rotating head. Oh, dang it, I can't get it to rotate. But that thing spins. There you go. So no matter how you pull, the bands will line up properly. Skeletonized aluminum, leather pad. Yeah, that's a real beaut. All right, let's start taking a look at my stuff. That's the last part of this. So here's kind of representative of what I got on hand. And we're going to start with the very first slingshot I ever made. Look how big the forks are on that thing. I found out about slingshots online. I thought it was pretty handy, so I thought I'd give it a try. So I glued up a couple boards, got out my compass, and that's what I came up with. And then I got into melting plastic, recycling plastic household items and stuff. And as I was working out my plastic skills, and I really shot through the fork there for a little while, and then I kind of progressed on. And this is we'll go to here. This is my tournament shooter. This is like my go-to. Chips are down. This is what I shoot. I shoot this in every tournament. This is my favorite slingshot. It's the one I would take above all others. It's not the nicest one I've made. It's kind of beat up, and I've made much nicer versions of it, but this is mine, and that's the one. That's the shape for me. And then these are kind of, this is where it started. This was the first prototype of that one, and I realized that the pinky was too far down, so I had to move them level. And then this one was an experiment in bending HDPE after you made it, and that worked out really great. I do love this one. And the low profile tops. And then I was working on a little bit more of an ergo feel with this one, and then I've been messing around with the knobs ever since. I'm trying to figure out the best way to machine them, and I think I've actually got some glued up that I need to find some time and finish. And then I also have the arrow rest, which fits on the back side, and you can shoot arrows if you shoot it sideways. The arrows will fit on that, which I haven't done in a long time. I need to get back to that. And then any other notable models? Yeah, you got a couple of Littlefoot. Right here's a nice one. G10 and olive wood. This is a really early frame I made. Little BB shooter. It's got a built-in magazine. I think it holds like 15 BBs in it. I just thought that was kind of cool. This one is glow-in-the-dark. It's filled with glow-in-the-dark resin. This is before I even started putting You'll Shoot Your Eye Out stuff on it from 2014. And that's pretty close to the beginning. This is my take on the Jelly Bean. And I think this is eucalyptus, if I'm not mistaken. We had a contest to build plywood slingshots one year, and this was my entry, which is a little bit like the Wasp leaf from Metro. I liked that shape at the time, so I think I made it wider, so I put big heavy bands on it, carved out the skull. I've always liked that one. You got a Triumph connector rod here. Triumph is pretty much the only company that puts their marquee, their logo on the parts. And I cut it so it's a bottle opener on the other end. Little tube shooter. Here we go. Here's my Mandalorian Beskar HDPE Littlefoot. The Imperial logo on it and the brass components. And that goes with my little Beskar ingot. You know, this is the way. Made this one as a template for the part of the trade that I had to get the O-Ray. I was supposed to make a similar slingshot, which I did, but I wanted to test one out first. And this is my test version. So I don't actually shoot the O-Ray. I shoot this one occasionally. But I am super happy with how that one turned out. Another part of my little slingshot, my Star Wars slingshot, this is my BB-8. Pickle fork and matching sling ring. Shoots 1/8 inch tubes. There's another version of it. And then my Yoda. It's got a glow-in-the-dark light up lightsaber in there, which is cool because you can't really see it during the day. I got a couple of superhero themed. Got my Aquaman. This was an old. These are pretty old. These. Yeah, I hadn't even started using You'll Shoot Your Eye Out yet. Captain America. Let's see here. Oh, this is one of my latest collections, and these are the Mr. Pickles. This is the Big Dill edition. I think originally they were black. And then, I made the Cyclops version for people that like stick shoot. And then I tried out spreading out the eyes a little bit. I didn't like the look of it, so I think this is one of the only ones I ever made of that. My COVID edition. Mrs. Pickles. And my Jack Skellington Halloween edition. I shoot this one a lot, actually. These are so silly and funny that I love making them and coming up with new designs and new takes on it. So I'm probably going to have more of those. This was an early cutting board that I laminated together. And I always thought that design was pretty cool. I never really did anything with it, though. I should make some more of those. I got a couple whistles. Frames. Got the... oh, left-handed. Doesn't work so good for me. Got some fidget spinners that work on the Ocularis plugs. And even the offset ones. Put that back in there. I have to switch to my right hand to do this. Anyway, this is, I think, the most recent slingshot that I made. Maybe. And I wanted kind of like a Mad Max style frame, right? Like real dystopian future frame. And I had both half the wrench and a chunk of rebar. So I fit them together, and what turned out to be like, or what started out to be kind of like a goof, right? Like a lark, like I had this idea and I made it, is I really love shooting that slingshot. In fact, I shoot it a lot now, constantly, and it's just perfect for me. In fact, the handle being offset just a little bit fits exactly how I like to hold. So that's fun, and this is what the other half of the wrench was. I'd made a little pry bar, a little mini pry bar with it years ago, and because it's a 3/4 inch, I realized I could put the Ocularis plug in there, and now I use it as a fly swatter. Okay, moving on to a couple of my last ones here. Oh, we'll go with my LN2, my lean-to collapsible crutch starship. And we had gotten into a contest, just me and some of my friends. We thought, let's make the most ridiculous slingshots we can out of a crutch. And I disassembled mine to make it, and as I laid the parts out to see what I had, I kind of inadvertently laid them in this shape. And I thought, oh, that double wishbone, or that double bend shape. So I think I've got a video on how to make this, which I'm going to update to show you how to make this one. Or one like this one, with the custom pistol grip and all the parts. And I actually have a flashlight mount that fits on this one. These are super fun to shoot big ammo with. You really zing it out there. But I had a great time making those. And then, well, yeah, let's look at these. So this is my Spider-Man themed slingshot. I've been a pretty massive Spider-Man fan since I was a child. It was always my favorite as a kid. And this is a little bit of a new style of frame for me. I mean, it's definitely a new design, but it's a lot more hand finished than I'm used to. A lot more of my stuff would be machining and cleaning up parts. But you even get the little stinger there. And so I'll be doing more of this frame. And I like how it fits tight in the hand. I'm pretty happy with this one, and of course I love the case. And now we're going to look at my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection. I've been kind of waiting to make this video till I finish this slingshot, or these slingshots. Let's see if we can get one out of here. They're kind of a snug fit. I do it one-handed is a little bit tough. There we go. All right, so it's three-piece construction. You can see there's a couple of different expressions going on over there. I had to custom dye the ocularis plugs. They all start out white to match the lanyards, internally routed lanyards. And I think if I were going to shoot these, I would actually take the plugs and turn them around so you could shoot it like this. But as a kit, I really, really love it. I mean, it was the idea was from Tim Foster had the idea based on my Mr. Pickles design, and so I just went to town and started coming up with different features. In fact, I found plans for 3D printed weapons, so I 3D printed the weapons and painted them, and then made the case, which I think turned out pretty cool. Anyway, that is my Slingshot collection. Well, that was a look at my collection. So I hope you saw some cool features or interesting models in both the commercially available and the custom built realm. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it, and we'll catch you next time.